Ernest Hemingway was a man who not only changed English literature, he changed what it means to be a writer. The 1800s were a time when poets waxed on about love's labors lost, the fragile beauty of a spring day, and the majesty of ancient myth. Writers were sensitive, sentimental, and gushed about their feelings in pages and pages of fanciful prose. And then in the 1900s came Hemingway, the occasionally functioning alcoholic who never settled down and spent his spare time on his boat hunting Nazi submarines. The secret is in the schnoz. Think about the last time you caught a whiff of something and were magically transported. I can still picture the smell of my family's garage at the start of the summer, the soap my dad would use to wash the car. Smell is a cheat code for memory and association, so why not smell like a Parisian poet or a man who hunts submarines on a Cuban fishing boat for sport? I picked up 4 new scents from Scentbird this month. We've got the regal yet daring The Forward, the warm and spicy Intention, the racy and fiery Arabian's Tonka, and this one I love. This is L'Or de Louis, which is inspired by the smell of when Louis XIV would keep an orange grove at Versailles. It's got orange blossom, honey, musk, cade wood, Florentine, orris. I don't even know what those last 2 are, but they're fancy as heck because a full bottle of this stuff would be $245. Scentbird offers enthusiasts access to over 800 niche artisan and designer bottles from brands like Gucci, Prada, Versace, and it offers fragrance newbies like me a way to have fun with new scents every month without the commitment of full-size bottles. Although, I gotta be honest, I was surprised by how much is in each of these. I don't know if I'm gonna finish this in a month. I'm gonna wind up with a whole collection. I'm very particular about the way I present myself in real life. I feel like this just opened up a lot of new doors for me, because if you scan the QR code on screen, use the code RACK'em or the link in the description, you get your first fragrance for $8 and your next month for $16.95. Thanks to Scentbird for making this show possible. Ernest Hemingway had the kind of energy that would make you believe he was invincible. But as he learned in World War I, he was in fact very vincible. The war gave Hemingway some nasty injuries, but the worst was to his heart. He fell in love with a nurse and returned to America and waited every day for her to arrive behind him. Instead, he got a letter from his girlfriend saying, "Don't take this the wrong way, but I see you as less of a lover and more of a son. But you're invited to my wedding, sweetie." It was on that day Hemingway decided he would never let a woman leave him alone again, which is why he always kept a backup. In Chicago, he met a woman who was 8 years older than him, but you're very immature for your age. Oh, Mr. Hemingway. They married 9 months later in 1921. Hemingway took a job with a newspaper that sent the couple to Paris, where Hemingway discovered his happy place. He got to meet all kinds of awesome artists. He was buddies with Picasso. He had a love-hate relationship with Gatsby author F. Scott Fitzgerald. He got blitzed with James Joyce on more than one occasion. Joyce, this wispy, spindly man, would get into fights with guys probably twice his size, and then duck behind Ernest and cry, "Deal with him, Hemingway, deal with him!" Paris would also be where Hemingway really got his start as a professional author, releasing his first novel, The Sun Also Rises. Maybe you've heard of it. Hemingway's writing was a lot like his personality. Brusque, stoic, dare I say, Swanson-esque. An author before World War I might say of a woman, "She was a fine and handsome girl. Not handsomer than some others, possibly, but her mobile, peony mouth and large, innocent eyes added eloquence to color and shape." Hemingway would say, Brett was damned good looking. Some people loved it and tried everything they could to imitate it. Some people hated it and did everything they could to avoid it, but no one could ignore it. Hemingway had lots of friends, a comfortable life in Europe, the love of a beautiful woman, rising acclaim, and then things got wild. Part of it was because Hemingway was, to pinch a phrase, a thinly controlled alcoholic who cheated on his wife, but that's okay because he married the backup girlfriend. But part of it was because the universe just really enjoyed screwing with him. For every macho man's story behind Hemingway's scars, there was usually one that was less enviable, like the great gash on his head he got trying to flush a toilet. The poor guy got anthrax on his second honeymoon. Anyway, at the request of wife number 2, Hemingway leaves Paris for America. They buy a house in Key West, but Hemingway spends a truly remarkable amount of time being literally anywhere else. Wyoming, Spain, New York, Kansas City, Cuba, Kenya. He's giving John Wayne a run for his money, all while being married with kids twice over. Seriously, just look at his Wikipedia. So much of it is devoted to tracking his movement. This man crossed the Atlantic with the casualness of going to the grocery store. The whole writing thing kinda takes a back seat in the 30s, at least compared to the rest of his career, in part because his writing hand was taken out of commission. But Hemingway sure knew how to keep busy. He got invited to the Spanish Civil War as a journalist and screenwriter, apparently. He got up close and personal with the front lines and with a lady named wife number 3. Yep, had an affair, married the other woman. But apparently reporting on the Spanish Civil War wasn't enough fun for him because he moved to Cuba, bought dozens of cats, and conspired with Soviet secret intelligence. But somehow, the most exciting part of his life was fishing. Nothing like an afternoon on the water, eh, Hemingway? It's nice you finally found a way to settle down. Too bad you forgot your rod. Uh-oh. I didn't forget. What are you? You idiot. You'll just attract more sharks! Author Ernest Hemingway regularly fished with Tommy guns. So honestly, when he started loading up his ship with grenades, the only rational reaction would be, "Hey Ernest, you looking to catch some bluefin?" Nope. Great whites? Nope. Blue whales? What? Nazis. He decks out his boat to go hunting for Nazi submarines, doesn't find any, then decides 1944 would be a lovely time to visit Europe again, so he flies to London on a bit of journalism duty. Things with wife number 3 aren't great. She wanted to come to London too, but Hemingway refused to give her a press pass, forcing her to cross the ocean in the middle of World War II on a boat full of explosives while he went and found himself a new girlfriend. When his wife arrived, she found him in the hospital from a car accident and told him they were done. So he proposed to wife number 4, whom he had previously met exactly 2 times. After he recovered, he was in a real hurry to get back to France, so he visited Normandy on f***ing D-Day. As a reporter and not just a tourist, but still, his 1985 biography says he was considered, quote, precious cargo and not allowed on shore, implying he really wanted to go on shore. Worse, his soon-to-be ex-wife upstaged him by becoming the only woman on the Normandy beaches that day when she smuggled herself to shore on a hospital ship. Oh yeah? Well, Hemingway followed the Allies to Paris and became the leader of a French militia. Technically violating the Geneva Convention there, but he got a pass because he told the authorities he was just offering this militia some really good advice about how he would lead a militia if he were leading a militia, which he wasn't. Pneumonia kept him out of the Battle of the Bulge, but he did manage to attend the liberation of Paris, where he got to catch up with Picasso. Then the universe really started taking it out on him. He was only in his 40s, and he and his family start breaking their bones like they're made out of Cracker Jacks. One time, he nearly died in a plane crash over the Congo, got airlifted to the hospital in another plane that exploded on takeoff. I'm pretty sure he was 30% man, 30% scar, and 40% alcohol. Honestly, it's a miracle he ever found the time to write. Yet write he did. He won a Nobel Prize for The Old Man and the Sea in 1954. He found some old manuscripts in Paris that kicked off a flurry of writing, published a memoir, and then he just kind of fell apart. His equally adventurous and accident-prone life left him with headaches, high blood pressure, weight problems, diabetes, bad eyesight, and his mental health finally followed suit. This being the 1950s, the doctors thought they could cure him with electrocution.
good as new. And if you're not completely satisfied, send him back and we'll shock him some more. Now, with memory problems and depression, it took Hemingway an entire week to write just a few sentences. He was diagnosed with hemochromatosis, his mind and body both deteriorating. And then he took out his favorite shotgun, and that was that. Hi-ho! If you like what I do, make sure to like and subscribe. I've got a couple of exciting announcements coming up, and chances are YouTube won't show them to you unless you're following the channel. And thanks again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Once again, that's the QR code on screen, code RACK'EM, or link below to get a really good deal on some schmancy colognes and perfumes.